Hello, my name is Ken McBride. Welcome to Chess Match. This is Learn Chess with the Rochester Chess Center. We have here a game between Catherine Healy Katherine Stein. Okay, in their first episode, we were watching a pretty even game. White is up ahead by 1 pawn, but black has pretty good piece play for the pawn. And Catherine, it is your move. Another kind of forcing move besides capture is making a threat. Catherine has just made a threat on the queen. Right, again, remember in the previous show we said if somebody captures you, capture them back. Okay, now that was too fast, ladies. These queens are looking at each other, correct? So when you put your queen here, the white queen could have captured you. You were so nervous about your rook, you forgot to look for other captures. Go ahead. Check. That's legal. Look at the board and figure out what you want to do. Okay, remember about hanging pieces. When somebody sees a piece that they can just take, they might. Okay, now remember, we had said when somebody puts you in check, there's different ways out of check. What I try to do, if somebody puts me in check, is I look at all the ways, all my choices that I have to get out of check. I actually count them up. In this case, black has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways out of check. Probably the best one would have been to capture. But if you don't look at all the ways out of check, you will not find the best way out of check in most cases. All right, so let's continue the game. Okay, one interesting try here would have been something called a fork, where this pawn chases the rook and the knight at the same time. This is not a perfect case, but it would have been a try. Probably best not to have done it because of a special move that we'll talk about later. But it was an interesting move. Go ahead, where did your rook go? Back here. Is that what you did? Okay. Okay. Usually when there's a fork, somebody decides which piece they want to save. So which one are you going to save? Okay. Catherine saved the rook because the rook is actually more valuable than the knight is. So the other Catherine was happy enough to capture the knight. And there's another check. So she was happy enough to capture the pawn and play a check. In this case, Catherine said there's two people attacking that B3 square, so she captured it, only one protector. So the king has been forced to the back rank. Okay, now this piece was actually doing a great job over here, holding this king in. Okay, a good way to probably try and finish this off would have been to say, where does this rook belong? And if we can put him on this square, that would be a checkmate. So we need to figure out how does this rook get to the first rank. And then we might come up with this move. In which case, it'd be very tough for white to defend this square. And checkmate would come up pretty soon. All right, but very nice game so far, ladies. Check. Catherine got your king off the back rank before that happens again, but there's a little problem. Punish that king for being there. Yeah. So if you go ahead and you do both, and then you get to see where this king is thinking of landing. All right, so white would count the ways out of check here. There's one block, and the king has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 choices for him. So there's 6 ways out of check. Which one did you like? Okay. Yeah. Well, you have a chance here to play a fork. Your rook was here, F5. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Okay, again, we see a fork where you're chasing 2 pieces at once. The king is being checked, and the knight chases the rook. Catherine has to save her king, and then the rook will go away, recaptured. And many players here would actually possibly take a draw here. So you could just shake hands, ladies, and accept the draw. Because rook and pawn versus rook and pawn, if she protects this, it's very tough to break through. So you could actually shake hands. Go ahead.
game.
All right. Thank you very much for an exciting episode. Okay, the tip of the day after that game was to look for forks. A fork is when one person or one piece chases one or more enemy pieces. So in this case, the knight was chasing the king and the rook, and that was basically the end of the game. Chess Match is sponsored by the Rochester Chess Center, which has been serving the Rochester chess community for over 24 years. Welcome back to Chess Match, Learn Chess with the Rochester Chess Center. I'm Ken McBride, and we have a more advanced match in this episode. This is Krish Thakkar, and this is John Healy. Gentlemen, why don't you guys go ahead and get started. Okay, again, both players try to control all the center squares, e4, e5, d4, and d5. And this opening is called the Roy Lopez. It's one of the most popular openings in all of chess. Okay, now the opening is changed to the four knights game. Now this was a pretty important decision. He had two pawns that could capture back on c6. And if you use the b pawn, it's capturing towards the center. If you use the d pawn, you're opening up a file for the queen, as well as a great diagonal for the bishop. Usually in the opening, you want to make the capture that does the most for your development. But let's see how this works out. Krish has done an outstanding job of developing all his knights and bishops. John's now developed all his knights and bishops, or what we call the minor pieces in chess. Okay, one of the problems John has had in this position is the bishop is telling the knight, if you move, I will capture your queen. In chess, we call that a pin, or particularly, or specifically, we'd call that a relative pin. If the knight had been pinned to the king, where the knight can't move due to check, we'd call that an absolute pin. But in this case, it's pinned to the queen. So John is trying to get rid of that pin by chasing the bishop away. That was probably the correct recapture, because even though the queen is more powerful than the pawn, and we might capture with the less powerful piece, he knows he probably still wants to castle kingside. So keeping these three pawns healthy is important. John says I get a more powerful piece than the pawn. I will take it, and let's see what Krish can come up with. Now, if you're behind in material, you're almost obligated to attack in chess. So let's hope he finds a way to attack. John also has something now called a battery. This queen and this bishop are two pieces that are lined up walking in the same direction. That battery is a nice, powerful thing to have on your side. Okay, another important idea in chess. If you get ahead in material, you like to make trades. John is offering this queen trade because he says, I have two bishops on the board versus your one knight and one pawn. So when you're ahead material, you like to trade. That's a very important idea in chess. Okay, again, we see how important it is to have a battery. When you have a battery, one piece protects the other piece as it walks down that line. In this case, they walk down the diagonal. Also, the queen has a favorite place in chess. She likes to be next to the enemy king as long as she's protected or guarded. And in this case, the white king cannot capture the queen due to the bishop playing a check, or the bishop would say check. Okay, and that is checkmate. The queen has trapped the king on the back lines. All right, so it was a very important idea where John tried, he said, let's trade off material because I'm ahead. Krish tried to back away from that and then ended up getting his king checkmated. So he tried to trade material. Krish said, I don't want to trade material, which is certainly understandable. But then you have to find where the right place is for the queen to go. Maybe here is the best spot to try and say, look, I'm protecting H2. All right, okay. Okay, so a couple of important things from that game. We saw a pin where one piece told another piece not to move or I'll capture something behind you. I believe our pin was something like this. The bishop's telling the knight, don't move or I'll get the queen. And John wanted to get out of the pin pretty quickly, so he chased the bishop. Another important idea in this game was the idea of a battery, where we had two pieces that lined up walking in the same direction. A bishop and a queen both walk on diagonals, so they can walk in the same direction. Other pieces that can make a battery would be a rook and a queen. They could walk on the same file together. Sometimes you have two rooks that can line up in the same direction. And sometimes you even have two rooks and a queen that line up in the same direction. All right. And one of the last important things that we saw in this game was that the queen has a favorite place. She loves to be next to the enemy king as long as she's protected or guarded. So the queen was next to the king. The king had to get away. He can't capture the queen because it was protected. And then John played his checkmate. Okay, very nice game, guys. Now, after every game, we always should shake hands, say something nice to your opponent.
Sorry, nice game. Nice game.
And then we set up the board.
Rather good luck next time.
All right. Thank you for watching Chess Match, Learning Chess with the Rochester Chess Center. Okay, there are several benefits to playing chess which have been shown in different studies. We will talk more in depth about those later on, but for right now, here's a few of them. One is it encourages players to take their time and not be too impulsive. In fact, chess punishes people who are too impulsive. It also encourages players to think about what problems are on the board or just how to solve problems in general. You get several problem-solving skills out of this. And it also encourages you to visualize what will happen. If I do a certain move, and the next person does a certain move, and then I do another move, and they do another move, what does that look like? Does that benefit me, or does that benefit the other person? So you get kind of an analysis of that. Okay, thank you. Chess also helps when you visualize what will be happening in the future. For instance, if I play one move and the next person makes their move, and then I play my move, and they play their move, I have to figure out, did that help me or did that help my opponent? So we need to know, and it gives us a chance to visualize and assess if that's helpful or not. Right, this is not only helpful academically, but it will be helpful in many facets during life.
Victor High School Chess Club!
Rules.
Yeah!
That's why you can't, remember I said about that bishop? You can't give it up.
Is that it? Yeah.
You can't give up that bishop, remember?
Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't do. He can't.
It's over basically because you can't.
Once you give up, remember, once you give up that hole,
He moves here.
Yeah, I
he's
got.
smart about it, he takes advantage of it. But
Just, it's fun to do. I guess it's a hobby. Something to do.
Yeah, what went right there?
Well, I won. That one right. I was just able to pin his king in the back where he couldn't move anything. So.
Did he make a fatal mistake, or
Yeah.
he just didn't see it coming, or what?
He just made some mistakes. Yeah, he didn't protect a piece that he should have protected.
Which piece did he protect?
Well, he just didn't protect one of his pawns, and that just, once I got it, it was game over.
Since I was like 5.
Same thing as him. He got me into it. So yeah.
I'm more of a defensive.
I'm pretty aggressive. Yeah.
I'm more defensive.
I'm really good, right?
Yeah.
A good team this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You gonna go all the way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a $5,000 prize, right?
You serious? Usually me.
No.
Yeah.
Usually me.
I beat you like 5 times now, so.
Sure.
I have. We've played about 10 times. Each of us have won 5 games.
Why do you play?
For the fun of it.
What about you?
Oh, I play for the fun of it too. Yep.
You like the feel of beating?
Yeah, I like the feel of it. I like the whole Renaissance feel of it. I like how it was invented back in the day of like knighthood and castles. So that's pretty cool.
Do you feel like it's helped your academics? It helped your academics at all?
I just feel like it's like extracurricular.
When they say it's like exercise for your brain, do you feel that way? Do you see it?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very strategical.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And also, we'll tell them. Could everybody look at the camera and just say Victor High School Chess Club? Ready? Go.
Victor High School Chess Club! Say it. Wait, we have to go to practice. I didn't say it.
Can we get them on the probably on the tripod, try to get a wide shot of everybody?
I've checked every single move. So what are you doing?
that's the beauty of the Paris chess.
Isn't there already? And then I you watched your kid.